Hi guys, welcome back. So we finally have it, England's official World Cup training squad, 41-man training squad. I'm sure I'll go into it in more detail in later videos, 33s to go to the World Cup, match day 23s, that sort of thing. But today I'm going to react by position to this squad, let you know my thoughts, and of course I would love to know your thoughts because there is loads to get stuck into here. First of all, there is a small group still training and rehabbing with England, shall we say, so they're still in contention, if not in the full training squad. That's Ollie Chesham, Ollie Lawrence, Mako Vunipola, Billy Vunipola and Jack Walker, so that's worth bearing in mind. And also Luke Cowan-Dickie has not made it. He's not making the progress, unfortunately, with his injury rehab, so he's out of contention for the World Cup, so that really opened stuff up at hooker. But let's start at loosehead prop. One inclusion into the main squad, that's Bevan Rodd, unsurprising, and Mako kind of is in, but in the rehab squad. Now on to hooker with Luke Cowan-Dickie now out of the World Cup. You're just left with Jamie George as the main man. Belmire and Dunn continue in the squad. Walker's rehabbing, but the exciting news is Theo Dan is in, and he is so explosive, so exciting. It looks like his set piece is great as well. I'll be very happy if he went all the way through to the 33, but it's an absolute bun fight for those two spots. Onto the tight head, and it's a little bit of a light area in England, and indeed no one comes in. Joe Hayes drops out, so we're left with possibly the three tight heads to go to the World Cup in Cole, Sinclair and Stewart. Their job is to scrummage, not get pushed around. If they give us anything extra, I think that would be a bonus. It could get cut down to 2, but there's 33 allowed in the squad now, not 31. So I would expect all three of these, injury aside, to go through to the World Cup. Another light area for England is definitely second row. Itoje was always going to come in. I think he still is one of England's best second rows, even if maybe he's not been on fire recently. Johnny Hill, I think, was always going to come in. He's had a solid season for Sale. I think he's benefited from moving from Exeter to Sale. He's got that frame. Has he set the world alight yet? Probably not, but he is one of the better second rows in England. George Martin continues, which is brilliant. I think he's got a lot of potential, especially a guy who can play second row and number 6. Ribbons has been one of the best second rows in England. We need him. And Yules drops out. Maybe he was just there for training. I don't know. Noah Zekwe, I thought he might have come in. But again, he's, I wouldn't say a world-class second row. And we've got, of course, Chesham rehabbing, but that's touch and go. Could it point to maybe using Courtney Lawes as a second row at times? I know plenty of people don't like this. Yes, he is a back row now, but he has played plenty of second row. And I'll say it again, he could still be one of England's best 2 or 3 second rows, even though he doesn't play there much anymore. I still think he's in with a shout, even if he doesn't like it and he hasn't played there a lot. Let me know if you think I'm mad suggesting that again. On to one of England's areas of strength, or their main area of strength. I think the back row is genuinely exciting. I did think Ted Hill was in danger of dropping out, and he does. The surprise, though, or maybe a disappointment, is Zach Mercer drops out. Tom Willis is in, and I love Tom Willis. It definitely gives a nod to Borthwick playing a more traditional style, maybe. Tom Willis is very reliable, less a flair player than Mercer, but got loads of potential. He's not young anymore, he's 24, he's in his prime. I'm really excited to see him, but he's a bit more of a traditional Delalio type number 8 than Zach Mercer, who can really throw the ball around and play out wide. But Tom Pearson continues, so we've got Dombrandt and Tom Willis looking there as the number 8s. Billy is still rehabbing. So I think Dombrandt's going to be under pressure here because he's been okay for England in the Six Nations. Medi not convinced, hasn't fully cemented his place. Tom Willis is in with a genuine shout here. Ludlam stays, unsurprising, probably more of a 6. Pearson, I'm not convinced what his best position is, but he could be outstanding. I kind of hope he continues, but someone's probably going to have to drop out of this group. Underhill stays, lots of experience. Tom Curry's in, who's looking more and more like a 6 option, with Bernal coming in from Saracens. That's good. He's been a form player. Hasn't torn it up for England yet, but then hasn't had many starts. Jack Willis is in as well, so that's great. The 2 Willis boys are in, and they could absolutely start together, maybe with Tom at 8, Jack at 7, and maybe the Tom Curry at 6. I'd be excited to see it. Obviously, Tom, hasn't got the experience, but he's got the game. He's definitely old enough. There is a bit of hope in this England squad, of course, but I think that's what we need to take. Scrum halves. And wow, Alex Mitchell, the form scrum half, we keep saying. the best scrum half in the English Premiership, is out. Borthwick doesn't trust him. Hopefully he's first reserve. We don't see Quirk or Ware coming from Sale, and Danny Kerr stays. So we've got two very experienced guys there in Kerr and Youngs. Then the youngster Van Portfleet. Could it be Kerr and Young's show again? Because it could well be 2 scrum halves that go through. I hope they take 3. I think it's sensible to take 3. I am gutted Mitchell goes. I think England are a bit weaker because of that. The form scrum half now is Danny Kerr. Yes, he's a bit older, but he's playing great. But is that the style of rugby Borthwick wants to play? I still think it's a slightly weak area, especially if it's a Van Portfleet and Ben Youngs 1-2 in the 23. Let me know your thoughts. I think it's a mistake to ditch Mitchell at this stage. A guy who probably was going to go out of the squad was Finn Smith, because Farrell and Ford were always going to come in. They could all stay in, but there could also be only 2 fly halves in the final 33. If Farrell's considered as more of a 12 as well, maybe that would save one of them. Obviously, Borthwick knows Ford really well, so maybe Smith is the most at risk here. And then, obviously, you lose his flair. But Ford and Farrell, it could be the 3rd consecutive World Cup with Ford and Farrell running the show. So that's interesting. That's definitely a fight there, because they're not guaranteed to all go through to the 33. Centres is a light area for England. Dingwall drops out. Porter stays, which is a little lucky, but does show we're fairly light there. I thought Lazowski might be in with a shout, but doesn't appear. So it looks now like we've got Tuolangi and Porter as our 12s, and maybe Farrell if needed, and Marchant and Slade as our 13s, as predicted. Slade hasn't torn it up for England for a while now. Some of you say he probably doesn't deserve to be there. I don't know, probably just about. Marchant hasn't got a lot of starts. And Daly is in. Is he in as a centre? Is he in as a back 3? Or is he that utility player playing for the number 23 shirt, shall we say? Still a bit of a light area. We may well have Ollie Lawrence coming in, and I think if he gets fully fit, Ollie Lawrence does come in, probably with Porter dropping out. But let me know if you agree. And back 3, the guy dropping out is Tommy Freeman, which again is unsurprising. Many of you guys thinking he should move to centre with a better chance to play for England. But of course, if he does that, he really needs to play centre for his club. And I'm pretty sure Northampton want to keep him as a back 3 player. They've got plenty of good centres, so he would have to really ask to play centre, I think. So that's an interesting debate. But he drops out. Thokanasiga and May stay. Now, in my discussion with Tim from Egg Chasers, I was making a case for keeping Thokanasiga around. He's a big lump, and he played really well for England. He's got a great record for England. Sure, he might not be the quickest or the most skillful, but he's very effective. He scores a lot of tries. Johnny May has a good all-round game, but you pick Johnny May for his speed, and he's just not as quick as he was in 2019, so you're just getting a slightly less effective player. So that's a bit meh. But Caden Murley's made it all the way through to the 41. I think he really should stick around, because he's got the speed out wide and he can work in and around the ruck probably better than any of those players there. Obviously, you can bring Big Joe in on a crash line, but he's not going to be ducking and diving like Murley is. Stewart and Watson were always going to stay. The additions are Max Malins. He's been a very good player. He's very solid. He can play a lot of positions, very skillful, but he is lightweight, but very useful. So is he in there as a full-back and winger? He could cover 10, but doesn't play there a lot at the moment. And Elliot Daly, again, could feature at full-back or wing, or again, utility back, probably more likely. Okay, guys, let me know what you think of that 41-man official England World Cup training squad. Get in the comments below. What are the good picks? What are the mistakes? Feel free to click on any of the videos around for other World Cup content. And there's going to be lots more content coming up as we get into the warm-up games. So do subscribe and like and all of that good stuff. I'd love that. And until next time, I'll see you later.